Hey guys, Aaron here from Precision Racing, and today we've got DJ's Black STO. The way this sort of feels, I think it just all happens so quick. It's what you'd expect if you're in some sort of fighter jet. It clicks 5 gears within sort of 7 seconds. Everything just happens so quickly, you don't understand what happened. We specialise in the V10 platform. We've been doing it now since 2018. Prior to that, we specialised in the R35 GDR market. We still carry on with that. It's done us well for many, many years. The V10 platform is just proving to be a solid market, you know, not only for us business-wise, but going to events and just dominating and winning. That sort of kept us really busy. And if you do a bit of a shop walk around, or if you ever in the area and you come past, I'm sure you'll see many Lambos and R8s. We do everything from engine building, transmission building, part supplies, fabrication. We try and make things very modular and easy to fit. So if anyone wants to buy anything from us, we can export it and make your job easy. So factory, they have a 5.2 litre V10, aspirated, so no turbochargers, and a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. It's a transaxle type transmission. The clutch is a fluid controlled dual clutch. I'd like to say reliable. They are pretty damn good considering we're putting, you know, over 2,000 wheel horsepower in these things. Back in the day, you know, when Volkswagen started to bring out dual clutch, people were skeptical. There's a lot of electronics within them, pressure sensors and whatnot, solenoids, and, you know, even the R35 GDR, sort of the Achilles heel was always the transmission. I believe it's the best thing that's ever happened to us. So to get to this sort of power level, it's engine and transmission out. We start with stripping the engine. We send all the parts to the machine shop. We get everything balanced and whatnot. Valve springs, valves, rods, pistons, pins, bearings, the list goes on. Assemble the engine. Once it's installed, we build the transmission. It has full PPG gear set. Every part is replaced and upgraded with this sort of horsepower. Anything over 1,600 horsepower, we replace everything and upgrade it. And we use a Dodson clutch, a wave track diff center, and a PPG ring and pinion. So pretty much every gear is replaced in the transmission. Axles are then upgraded, and realistically, you've replaced your whole driveline. The front drive components don't see enough torque. There's not much weight over the front end with these cars when they're accelerating. So yeah, you'd be surprised how small everything is in the front drive. We've had cars sort of, you know, lifting the front wheels, first, second, third gear on normal, unprepped tarmac, just sort of bobbing the front wheel. So it shows how little weight is actually over the front wheels when they're accelerating. This particular model, being the STO, is rear-wheel drive from factory. So we use all of the factory Huracán all-wheel drive components, which bolt into these chassis. So the V10 platform in itself, whether it's R8 or Huracán, not only do they look fantastic, but they dominate at the track. You know, like they do really well. They handle horsepower really well. Spreading that load over 10 cylinders just makes things easy. They're designed really well. They're dry sumped factory. It's very easy to bring in a V10 and twin turbo and leave with well over 1,000 horsepower, leaving the factory engine. So we've built the engine, built the transmission. Next comes to making the thing breathe. So we want to boost the air that's going into the engine. So this one making well over 2,000. We're running the 7880s mirror. So there's a left-hand rotation, so opposite rotation, and then there's a right-hand normal rotation turbocharger. We like to keep everything sort of symmetrical. Just my OCD doesn't really allow it. I need it to look mirror image. And we've done that with the intercoolers and whatnot as well. The combo runs factory headers that run factory cats to a flange, which is all factory. And then from there on, we fabricate turbine inlet tubes and exhaust from there on. So this one runs the HyperGate45s. So there's not a heap of fabrication, but it's still chews up a lot of time and it's got to be right. Otherwise, fitment's a problem. Intercoolers, as you can see, sort of replicate the position of a factory airbox to try and keep it that factory look. The finishes are to keep that factory look as well. Everything, all the flanges are all machined on those cast items, so there's no welding. The only thing we do weld to the end of the coolers is the flanges for the turbochargers to mate up. We need to have the ability of having smaller turbochargers and larger turbochargers on the same intercooler setup. These intercoolers are obviously designed for around about 1,000 horsepower each. So anything over that, you've got to really sort of work hard on keeping that water cool that runs through the coolers, right? The cooler that water is, the better the intercooler is going to work. For that, we use an interchiller kit, and it uses the AC gas system to chill the water that runs through the intercoolers. Now, obviously, that system in itself can be work really, really well or really, really bad, depending on how you set that up. If the smaller the tank that you have, the less reservoir of cold water you have, the quicker it heats up and the quicker it cools down. However, the volume helps a lot. So if you have a larger water tank, then that's gonna really, really help. So the interior of the STO or any Huracán build that we do stays essentially stock. On this particular car, it does have cruise control, so we can do map switching on the fly using the cruise control switches, which is an awesome feature. All going through the Motec ECU, of course. Dash stays factory, everything's factory. We do, because this car makes serious horsepower, we do add a keypad, which we mount in this center console area. And we're able to control further things like traction control settings, burnout mode, so put into rear-wheel drive. Another cool feature with the Motec ECU is that you can set up auto upshift. We can have a table and then assign an output, which triggers the TCU, essentially the upshift paddle. And we can have different engine speeds for different gear position, trigger an output and create that shift for you. Now, obviously the acceleration time in first gear and second gear is much different to like fifth gear. So we would trigger the output earlier to allow for the delay or the dwell in time for the TCU to see that message or that trigger and create the upshift. So we might see something like a first gear upshift of 6,800 or 7,100 RPM actually makes the shift at 85 or 8,800 RPM. Fourth gear might be 8,900 or 8,800 RPM, and it's actually making the shift at 9,000. To be honest, you wouldn't be able to run without it if you're making anything over like 1,100 wheel. From 1,350 and up, you're not going to do reliable shifts. We don't want to rely on the driver. The more we can take over and take control of the setup, it allows the cars to be very, very predictable and repetitive. So Stage 1 Plus makes 1130, the 1X makes 1350. At that point, we're upgrading driveline, so gearbox, clutch, stub axles. We add a billet intake manifold. Stage 3 is full engine build and more boost. So the turbo kit and fuel system at that point stays the same. To go next sort of step up, you're going to like 1,800 territory. That does require a bit of an upgrade fuel system. And also turbochargers, but they're a straight swap. And this is why we went the Turbosmart. We used the B series frame for that kit, and we're able to go all the way up to a 7170 size, which is the biggest they make for the B frame, and make 1,900 wheel up to if we wanted to push it. After that, then we go to the C frame turbochargers. whether that be 76, 75 or 78, 80s. You can go from say 2000 all the way up to say 2500 wheel. As for fuel system, this particular car is going to make sort of 2500 horsepower eventually. When we need it, it's capable of it. So this has a direct injection delete kit. So we don't run the high pressure direct injection. And we run a brushless Elixir fuel pump. It's a single fuel pump. The fuel surge tank is supplied by the OE pump inside the factory tank. And this fuel pump can support the 2500 wheel horsepower on ethanol, mind you. So yeah, if it was methanol, we'd be pushing it, but we'll probably have to run a second pump. It runs 20 port injectors with 4 billet fuel rails. So the lower billet runners made by CPC have a fuel rail with 5 port injectors, and then the upper billet runners have another fuel rail with another 5 injectors per bank. To put it in perspective, cars at this level, and you may, if you follow racing and drag your times and whatnot, you'd understand, but we no longer measure 0 to 100 times. It's now at this, when you're talking 2000 horsepower and up, you're measuring 100 to 200 and 200 to 250 times. I mean, you're essentially, that's showing the true acceleration of the vehicle. The dyno doesn't mean anything. We can make stupid horsepower and have that car go out and be slower than a car that makes less horsepower. It's all about getting it down. The way this sort of feels would be I think it just all happens so quick. It's what you'd expect if you're in some sort of fighter jet, everything just happens so quickly, you don't understand what happened. It clicks 5 gears within sort of 7 seconds. It's definitely better than what they expected beforehand, before going into the build itself. People have to witness it and experience it to understand.